The Night Visitor. It was a night like any other in the small, quiet town. But for Maya, that night would change everything. The clock ticked past midnight as she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. She had always been a light sleeper, but tonight the air felt heavier. It was a suffocating stillness, as if the world was holding its breath. Maya closed her eyes, trying to drift back into sleep. And that's when she heard it, a soft tapping at her window. Tap, tap, tap. Her heart skipped a beat. She lived on the second floor, no one could reach her window without a ladder. Slowly, Maya turned her head toward the window, her breath shallow. The tapping continued, rhythmic and persistent, almost polite, as if asking permission to come in. Tap, tap, tap. Gathering her courage, she slid out of bed, her bare feet making no sound on the wooden floor. As she approached the window, she noticed the curtains swaying, though there was no breeze. Her trembling hand reached for the fabric, and with one swift motion, she pulled it back. Nothing. No one stood outside the window, just the pale light of the moon shining through the glass. Maya exhaled, relief washing over her. She must have imagined it. But then, the tapping started again, this time, from inside her room. Her blood ran cold. Slowly, she turned around, her eyes scanning the dark corners of her room. And that's when she saw it, a figure, standing in the shadows near the door. It was tall and impossibly thin, its long arms dangling by its sides. The face was obscured by the darkness, but its eyes, two glowing, pale orbs, stared straight at her. Paralyzed with fear, Maya stood frozen. The figure didn't move, but the room felt colder, the air thinner. She wanted to scream, to run, but her body wouldn't obey. The figure tilted its head, as if studying her. Then, it took a step forward, its feet barely making a sound on the floor. Another step. And another. Slowly, it closed the distance between them, until it stood just inches away from her. Maya could feel the icy air radiating off its body. In a voice barely above a whisper, it spoke. "I've been waiting." The words sent a shiver down her spine. Maya's breath hitched, her heart pounding in her chest. She tried to speak, but no words came out. The figure raised one long, bony finger and gently placed it against her lips. "Don't be afraid. I won't hurt you. Yet." With that, it vanished. The room was empty again, as if the figure had never been there. But Maya knew better. The cold, the fear, it lingered. For the next few nights, the tapping returned. Sometimes at the window, sometimes at her door. The figure never showed itself again, but Maya could feel its presence, watching, waiting. She barely slept, her mind spiraling into a fog of paranoia and dread. And then, one night, the tapping stopped. The house was eerily silent. Maya should have felt relief, but instead, a sense of dread settled over her. Something was wrong. In the middle of the night, she woke up to the sound of breathing, slow, deliberate breaths, just inches from her face. Her eyes shot open, and there it was again, the figure, standing at the foot of her bed, closer than ever before. "I told you I've been waiting," it whispered, its voice barely audible. Maya's scream never left her throat. The last thing she saw were those pale, glowing eyes before everything went black. When the morning sun rose, Maya was gone. Her bed was empty, the room cold and untouched, as if she had never been there. The only trace left behind was a single, faint tap on the window. And now, in that quiet little town, on certain nights, some say they can still hear it, the soft tapping at their window. Tap, tap, tap.